The time has come for everyone. We got the championship race. 3-wide racing. Cold Hard Art Cup Series. Peter, we're going to have to ask you to ixnay on the octave for a moment, sir. Well, speak of the devil. We got the championship race. It's the end of the season. One more decides them all. We'll just open up. We got Peter Short. He drives his 33 car. We got Cameron Rich. He pilots the 17. Then we got Sam Close, the master of disaster. He rocks the 5 car. Gentlemen, are you ready for this?
I'm
ready.
confused.
I'm
Are you
hoping-
asking them or us?
I'm ready. I was just saying, I hope the drivers are ready.
I was waiting for Peter to say he was ready. I'm ready.
Here it is.
I know I'm ready.
Well, guys, we saw a pretty exciting race last night in the B car. Flag to flag, green flag, a lot of green flag pit stops, some good racing strategy played a big part. You guys expect the race to go similarly tonight?
The setup tonight's much different than it was last night. It's not cloudy, which makes the setup a lot looser. So it definitely has the potential for a few more yellows and a few more strategy calls, which could make it a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, she's pretty free, so I don't think we're going caution free tonight.
You guys,
you have little faith, God.
Go ahead, Sam. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I agree with them. I'm tight end, free off, so it should be interesting.
Now, you guys, you mentioned it wasn't cloudy. We had that overcast last night. I think it kind of limited the groove a little bit. Do you see with these, what is it, 110 track temperature? Do you think that groove's going to widen out a little bit?
I think there'll be a little bit more side-by-side racing tonight. It seems like if you're on the higher line, you can get a little bit straighter runoff and not burn up your rear tires, and people on the low side can have a little bit of difficulty getting the gas down. So hopefully we'll see a little bit more side-by-side racing tonight.
Yeah, I tried the high side a little bit myself in practice, and it wasn't it didn't like kill me like it looked like it happened last night. So I think we'll get, as the run goes on and the tires wear, I think the groove will definitely move up at least a little bit.
Now, how many laps can you guys run on fuel? Does anybody know?
I think it's about 39 laps, but you try and run the race backwards. So.
All right. So, question for each of you: it's coming down to the last lap. You got one of these guys in front of you, and it's either him or you for the championship. Are you going to put the bumper to him?
I'll pull a Carl Edwards and I'll drive it so far into the corner that I'm in the next state.
Yeah, I think I'd rather pull a Carl Edwards than knock someone out of the way to win a championship.
I have too much respect for both of these guys. I've been racing with them, both of them, for a while now. Sam, of course, like last year, champion of pretty much everything, and Peter, racing with him for, since I was like a kid, basically. So I wouldn't knock them out of the way, but I'm not going to give them any slack either.
Yeah, I don't know if I can answer that question till the last lap. Nah, I'm just kidding. We got a lot of respect for each other. I wouldn't be surprised for a little nudge or something like that, depending on who's where, but I don't think anybody's going to be blatantly running anybody over, that's for sure.
All right,
Trey, clearly I'm going to have to Rick Allen this tonight and hype this up.
Right. I think so. All right, guys.
Play off some drama there.
Well, we'll let you get back to your teams and let you do your last-minute preps, but we'll have the cameras on you. Wish you all the best of luck, and may the best driver win.
Thanks, bud.
Appreciate you guys.
I think we're setting up for a barn burner here tonight.
A barn burner?
At the very least.
I don't doubt you. I don't doubt you.
Yeah, I think so. Last night it was pretty exciting seeing the race go green. Eric Mickey stunk up the show. He's back in the field tonight, starting fourth. Got Chuck Sweeting not running for a championship, just looking for trophy, starting on the pole. So, one of these championship drivers, we see it in real life. Usually, the driver that wins the race is one of the championship four, but that might not be the case tonight as it was last night.
Yeah, still a lot of talent left in this field tonight to kind of shake that up. But you stressed it last night. You don't have to win. You just have to beat the other two. So don't shoot yourself in the foot starting the race here.
And shooting yourself in the foot, we saw it. We saw it last night. It pretty much killed Richard Lafferty's chances. Green flag pit stops. This track can be a little tricky, and we saw that 8 machine slide through his pit box. I think he lost maybe 1 or 2 seconds on that pit stop, but it killed his chances to win the championship last night. So that's something to look forward to as well.
Yeah, we even saw the mistake from Sam Close. It didn't mean much last night, but if that was tonight, that's game over. He never, no cautions, never got a rebound from that. So definitely something to keep an eye on, as always. Nice to see the chat's already been hopping there. I think Carlos mentioned he hopes he didn't wreck the 17 on lap 3 this time. That's probably appreciated by Cameron if you didn't do that this time.
It must be a Canadian thing. Matt posted a picture of a crane. Is that like a message to your ISP there, Matt?
Yeah, there's gonna be some messages sent here soon when they start cutting my service for,
I just love that he mentioned earlier that Ultra was like his Ultra internet was 8 down. That's that 8 down and Ultra is not in the same sentence.
Well, I have 1.5 now, so I see about 200 kilobytes of that. So, I think that'd be a night and day.
Oh, we get Kevin the Food Court Flying Finn chiming in there saying hi. Hello, Kevin. So we had some also telling us not to do 3 stops. That might actually work in this race because it's longer compared to last night. The 33 laps tonight. Usually a 3 win, depending on tire fall off, could work. Trey, we've seen that play out in a couple other races we've called here.
Yeah, for sure. You just got to time it right and hope it falls your way at the end, because we see, if you do it too early, that what's almost a second and a half fall off, 2 seconds, you're gonna be a sitting duck.
And that's if your car is handling good. If you're already falling off, like we saw Peter last night, and you're losing half a second before the guys are falling off, the short pitting, yeah, it's going to gain you a couple laps from the beginning, but this is going to hurt you even more as the run continues on. I was going to say runs on, but
Run, yeah.
Run.
But anyway, the keys to the race tonight are definitely to not hit the turn 2 wall with 2 laps to go this evening.
I think we beat that horse yesterday, or I did at least.
She's going to get drugged behind the car this time.
I mean, it's the typical Homestead. Turn 2 because of the bump, especially in the Cup car. The seams, we talked about those last night, and then obviously pit lane is always the hot topic here.
Yeah. And I'm sure these guys are sitting there hoping that they do not get any green flag pit stops tonight. They'd like to do everything under yellow as opposed to kind of scaring themselves getting down on that access road at full speed.
Yes and no, because also under yellow you have to make sure not to pass the pace car, because the pace car, the inside radius of the access road, sometimes we see that happen where you end up passing the pace car, right. And then that turns into a dilemma. And
well, too, if you got it stretched out, you might want it to stay green. I think Eric was hoping for a green flag run the entire night, and that's what he got, because he was able to jump out there in the front and just kind of leave these guys behind all night. And just, it was like he was running Daytona laps by himself.
Daytona. Might be a different story tonight, though. Like they mentioned, I don't know if we'll stay green all night long, and even if we do, I think we'll see a lot more comers and goers in the Cup field. So,
yeah.
Well, Matthew, looks like we're getting ready to grid them up here.
Let's do it up. Last time of the season, you'll hear us grid these 3 wide guys up.
As soon as I can pull my grid up. Alrighty. Still actually waiting for some cars to grid. Alrighty. The legend himself, boys. Chuck Sweeting grabbing another pole here in 3 wide. To his outside championship contender, Peter Short, looking to have a little better long run car tonight than he did last night.
Couple guys just here to get some hardware. The 4 Luis Salmaso starting P3 to his outside. The 41 of Eric Micka.
And our remaining 2 championship 3 starting side by side, we got the number 17 of Kevin Rich rolling off P5 and number 5 Sam Close going to bring it home or start it off P6.
It's gonna bring her home already. Let's hope not.
Yeah.
Rolling off P7, we have last night's champion, Paul Ross. Pretty, I won't say dominant car. He's the dominant of the championship 3 besides Eric, but kudos to him for that one. And outside him, Richard Hines, who once again looking for another solid race. I feel like I say it every week, but he usually has a decent car and then something happens. So.
Now, we have a couple guys here who have, I found, continuously improved throughout the season. The number 1 of Jordan Teal starting P9, who's outside. The 88 of Rusty Webb, rounding out your top 10.
And rolling off P11, that number 2 machine, Carlos Acosta, had an outstanding run last night. I think he finished in the top 5. To his outside, starting P12, Mike Stevens.
Rolling off P13, we have the driver owner for Pilot Performance Group, Chad Brown, and to his outside, Johnny Thomas, who, boys, is going to send a hat to Richard Lafferty.
Well, is he going to send a hat to Paul?
That's the question. If you want him to send a hat to Paul, make sure to tweet hashtag hat for Paul.
We're going to get it
Behind them,
trended.
we have the number 8 of Kyle Hanshaw starting P15. Just outside the number 90, league admin, owner, Corey Lindsay.
And rounding out the field, we got Wade Lear starting 17th, Matt Hackthorne 18th, and Tailgun Charlie, Brent Miller in the number 89.
I like how they disabled Carlos's chat already. That's pretty funny.
Yeah, I saw that.
Well, boys, it's 133 laps of excitement here in the South Florida sun. So let's see if they can get her done. Or at least put on a show.
I think we're going to have a dandy show tonight here. We have 3, I would say the best in the Cold Hard Art Cup Series this season. Peter Short, Cameron Rich, and Sam Close all racing for the championship. You know, it's going to be a hard-fought battle right up to the end.
Oh, Bert's going to pull in for not the final time, but the final start of the season, and we're already to green. Kind of a subdued start there. Everyone getting going fairly smooth.
Right, the sidelines kind of dead in the water there. I think Eric Mickey.
Very missing the start. So far, so good through 1 and 2. Everyone kind of gets sorted there, but not too crazy.
The top 7 or 8 cars, they're going to go to single file. A little bit of racing going on between the number 1 and 2, Carlos Acosta, Jordan Teal. All the way behind them, side by side.
I was trying to look at stats earlier, well, for the whole season between Cameron and Peter, because they had racked up the most wins with, like, who's been the better on the mile and a half. And honestly, they're pretty much the same, kind of all the way down. I think the only thing Cameron has over Peter is maybe one more win. So it kind of stacks out even. And Sam Close has just kind of been lurking all year. He's always there. Picks up a few wins here and there, but he's always just there, kind of waiting to see what happens. Car kind of rolled over there and let Cameron go by.
Cameron has his eyes set on the 33 right now. It's going to put him at the top of the chart for the championship 3 if he can make the pass on him, but I don't think Eric Micka's going to let him get too far away from him here.
Well, I saw on the old Facebookers there, Matt. Eric said he's trying to sweep the weekend here, so I feel pretty confident that he's going to be a factor here tonight. Didn't get very far last week at Phoenix before he found the outside wall, so we'll see what he can do tonight. Not much of his own making there, he'll break some contact.
And correct me if I'm wrong, I don't believe Eric does have a win yet in the Qualifier Cup Series, does he?
Not to my knowledge. I believe he's come close, but just missed out on a few of them.
And he's coming in, I believe, full-time next season in Qualifier Cup Series, so I think that's what his plan is, but
I think
that
that
could
plan
change.
changed today
Oh, that's right.
because of work shift change there. So.
Yeah. Oh,
Meanwhile, I really haven't even go over that one. But meanwhile, I guess Peter's still running. I'd say conservative. No one's really, going to venture to the high side yet, but no one's also going to run the bottom where you're going to get pretty free down there. You're kind of hovering right above that seam.
Yeah, Cameron's closed right up on him here, but I do believe, like you mentioned, I think Peter's going to take her a little bit conservative here tonight. Ooh, wow. Almost contact there between Mickey and Cameron Rich. And Cameron's a little bit loose coming through 1 and 2. So is Eric Mickey.
Man, I guess they weren't joking. It's a little loose off. Now we saw Peter and Cameron at what was that, Watkins Glen? They kind of leaned on each other a little bit. I don't know if we'll see any of that action tonight. But clearly, they'll race each other really extremely hard. So too many people here. You kind of not gonna end well on an oval, but
not usually, no. These cars are skating all over the place here. I'm looking towards the back of the field. There's quite a few guys getting really loose up off of turn 2. Do you guys think that has anything to do with that bump that you guys were talking about earlier?
Yes.
I'm sure it's not helping, but the setup is just obviously it's a little loose off in this weather, so Tristan pulls up right in front of Wayne Lear, slams the door on him there.
I actually think Peter Short's holding this group up just a little bit.
You think he's maybe a little gun shy, Trey, trying to figure out, man, I gotta save tires after last night?
Yes.
Cameron's going to take that. See if we can get the advantage here.
Man,
Close racing already.
He did not cut him a break, letting him by.
No. Eric Mickey's going to try to follow up behind Cameron Rich here. He might actually get the pass on him.
Have to hold it pretty. Yeah, he's going to roll out of it there. I was going to say he's going to have to hold it pretty tight in one, but might get 2 for 1 special here.
He's trying.
Man.
Cameron said earlier if he gets a run on him, he'd let him go, but it's kind of hard to do that when you have Peter Short, who you just passed, breathing down your neck again. He does make the move up off turn 4 there.
Got a little gaggle there with Richard Hines, Wade Lear, Rusty Webb, Johnny Thomas. Those two didn't race each other all night last night.
No.
Let's pick up where they left off, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
This definitely could be one of those races where if this car really starts tightening up through the center and gets snappy off, you're definitely going to learn how to back it up and save that right front. That way you can have something left at the end, because if you push this car over the limit early, you're going to be just a fish out of water by probably 20, 25 laps in.
Oh, without a doubt. And Rusty Webb, looking pretty good here. He's trying to make the move up on the outside. He's lost a couple positions since the start of the race. Maybe he's just trying to wagging his tail the whole way down the backstretch on this little handful, I think, for him. You can still see the cars aren't settling down at all. The nose is just constantly traveling left and right.
Yeah, it's just you can just tell, like I said, it's just not settled, not compared to last night. Of course, that's the difference between an overcast sky and probably a partly cloudy sky today. So.
Yeah, 74-degree track temperature to 110.
Oh, it's actually clear, so yeah, that's even worse. Never seen a clear day in Florida.
Wade Lear's going to try to make the move around Chad Brown for 10th.
Ooh, contact back there. That was between Mike Stevens and what's that, 89? Yeah, I'm kind of getting out of shape there. practicing for their rally cross already, Matt.
Yeah. We have to lean on people in order to make it through the race. Kyle Hanshaw's ventured up there to that high line. I don't know if it's exactly benefiting him any, but we'll see here. He's going to continue to run it.
Did you mean to go up there, or did it just kind of happen? You know?
Still running her right off the very top. And he might just be leaving lots of room, though, just to be safe, because this is lap 14 of 133.
It's not tightening the car up any.
That gaggle up there with Johnny Thomas, Chad Brown, Rusty Webb, still ongoing as Chad's starting to fall back a little bit here. Johnny Thomas and Rusty Webb complete the pass on Chad.
Yeah, it looks like they're running down Wade Lear in front of them, too. So.
Speaking of running down, you got Eric Mickey starting to cut into that lead from Chuck. Already cut a half a second off of it already.
This could be the battle within the battle we were mentioning earlier. Oh, we didn't make picks tonight, guys.
I'll take the 17.
Producer, you can't pick while you're already running the race. Okay, I don't want the 33.
That's awfully rude.
Yeah, I think Eric's going to have a say in who wins this race, but, you know, just Peter Short, his history at this track is not very good, and I'm kind of liking Cameron Rich to bring home the championship tonight.
I mean, you still can't overlook Sam. He's, you know, he hasn't had this, you know, the flat out speed all season, but at certain tracks he's been pretty good. So we'll see if he's just kind of rolling it in here until he has the first round of pit stops or not. Funny thing is, Trey, I mean, yes, Chuck and Eric could play the spoiler and win the race, but both of them with their pit lane problems, they could actually eliminate themselves and hand it back to one of the championship guys. So.
Very true.
I think the best thing they hope for is they can get away from these guys and they can settle it between themselves and not have to worry about impacting any championship battle or having to race any of those guys, you know, different.
Rusty Webb got a hell of a run there off turn 2. I thought he was going to pound down the wall, but it looked like he got the perfect slingshot. He's going to be side by side with Johnny Thomas now.
All the way to the bottom there through 3 and 4.
Yeah,
Wade Lear's using the Kyle Larson line.
Some dangerous territory down there now.
I think that's actually helping Rusty Webb, though, with Wade, who kind of checked up Johnny Thomas a little bit through 3 and 4.
Using him as a pick,
Who's
maybe,
in the
and
wall?
Wade's in the wall. Never heard any real issue. Just scrape the sponsors off the right side of the car.
I saw Corey Lindsey pound that thing, what, 600, 700, 800 times? It still was, what, a top 6, 7 car. So.
Yeah. I think there's an extent. If you hit it the wrong way one time, you may as well just Parker. But if you hit it the right way, 100 times won't make a difference.
They call that 0x versus 2x.
Or
Peter and Cameron side by side off turn 2. That was a little close there.
getting close. Sam Close right back there watching this battle. Back in 6th position right now.
So maybe seeing a little turn of fortune there at 17. Obviously, he was looking pretty good ahead of Peter, but he's kind of lost the momentum there.
We should be about halfway through a fuel run, so.
Peter sideways up off of turn 2 there.
Man.
Gonna allow Cameron probably to get back side by side with him entering 3. Nope, he's gonna hold her back. And these guys, this must be incredibly stressful, racing for a championship and being sliding up off the corner almost every lap.
Didn't we joke about that last week, saying how cool it would be to watch them have to slide around the whole race and try to win a championship?
Like
Yeah,
that's
they
just.
are.
I've never been in their
Man.
situation, but I'm quite happy about that. But ooh,
You've never made a final? I guess you haven't. We haven't been in that point system long enough.
no.
Yeah, I've never been in that situation though. I've always been open setup, so you can kind of make it as tight as you wanted. Regardless, it makes it fun though, because now these guys have to figure out what to do.
And they have a lot of time to do that, so even though Peter's leading right now, if it's any one of these three guys, championship is Peter again. Looks like he's walking the dog up off the corner.
He's actually the fastest car on track that time.
You look like
The
you're out
old,
of control. That's when you're the fastest.
The old Southwest Airlines car in the wind there.
Sam Close is actually running comparable lap times to these guys. He was a couple of thousandths faster than Cameron Rich that lap. So he's not that far back. It's just I think he had a kind of a poor restart. So he couldn't really catch up because I'm sure we saw him race after race. He's been one of the best on the long run. So that's probably what his strategy is in this race. Even though we are actually, like Trey mentioned, we're almost time to come down to pit lane. Another 10 laps probably.
We got a battle for the lead starting to hot up as Eric is pulled right up to the back end of the 26 machine of Chuck.
Definitely stalking him there, and trying to size up where he can get the move made here.
Yeah, he when he got around Peter, he was 1.7 seconds behind. So I'm sure Chuck's aware of that. He probably won't fight him too much. It's a little early.
You're about 2/10 quicker than Chuck last lap, so.
I actually don't think Chuck's a big fan of this race.
I know I think he said in chat a couple weeks ago he hates this place, which is shocking because it's normally a pretty good track for his team owner over there on the official side, Randall Fox. They usually love this place. So.
Oh, Sam Close scraped the wall just a touch. I don't think it damaged his car any up off turn 2 there. And that's just showing that's getting the push loose, and that's the recipe for disaster.
Too much room in a turn 2 as it is, so when you get that little hop or a slide, it kind of puckers you up a little bit.
Remember, guys, Sam Close looking for 2 back-to-back championships in the Cold Hard Air Cup Series.
Looking to sweep the NASCAR portion of the championships for 3OG Racing as well. So, team owner Paul Ross with that one last night. If Sam can win this one, that'll be a sweep for powerhouse team. Man. Got an uphill battle though. We got to fight those two Eisentech Fords. So. Eric and Chuck side by side off turn 2. Looks like he's just gonna, he's gonna roll over that Eric Cabot on that one.
Peter's short. He must have figured something out because he's starting to run these guys down a little bit.
Still crazy to watch how the lap times kind of just, there's hardly nothing between these guys lap after lap, a couple tenths here, maybe a couple hundredths here. Curious to see what Eric does once he's cleared Chuck here, see if he can get away. Costa there in the wall right in front of Johnny Thomas. Just Webb got around him there. That was a battle for 11th. Actually 10th at the time.
Chad Brown up there running P9. That's a real good start to his race. I don't want to jinx him because I know he's run into quite a bit of bad luck. So.
Oh, looks like our first pit taker here, Paul Ross, going to come in on lap 30. Still hot and heavy back there. Wade Beard, Costa, Richard Hines.
That's actually our best race on track right now.
Corey Lindsay kind of getting into the mix now.
That's a constant race also. I don't think it's ever broken up.
Well, those are the ones you kind of like to be in, Matt. So you're not racing for the lead. Big deal. You actually get to race and have fun,
Yeah, as much as you want to be up there racing for the lead, that's a real good consolation, I find. 'Cause it makes the racing fun as opposed to you riding around and you know, logging
Turns it-
laps.
Turns it from an F1 race to a NASCAR race.
Yeah.
Mid to late 90s NASCAR race.
Paul Ross exiting the pit series and coming right out in front. Well, he's going to be behind this group, most likely.
Not for long.
Oh my God.
Got some other takers to pit road.
Yeah,
Superman.
Rusty Webb, Carlos Acosta. That was an interesting little slice move that happened there. Oh, we have Jordan Teal also from the pit lane, and he's flat flying in there. Corey Lindsay also down there.
Let's say the floodgates have opened, but no one up front to kind of make those guys even take notice, really.
Sam closing to the outside wall in the middle of turn 3. Gave that one a little bit hard over hit. He's some decent sized damage there on the right side.
Yeah, she's a little crinkled.
But, like you said before, Tom, Corey Lindsay gave her a couple good cracks there last night, so that might not hurt him.
The only difference is you're going to have to run a little bit better than mid-pack. Mid, like, 6 on back. These guys are running up for the lead. Almost
Oh,
Eric
Eric
Mickey spins
Eric
coming
dead.
into pit lane.
Oh, and he kills the
Cameron
17
Rich.
car.
Wow.
Oh. It looks like Eric was trying to come down pit road. He just got too much
Lost
brake into it and just lost it.
Wow.
And Cameron had nowhere to go. And looks like Eric Mickey just alt F forward.
I mean, what do you even say if you're Eric? Just like, sorry, and then Cameron said, well, that's 2 years in a row. That's some unbelievable luck to get wrecked out early twice at in your championship race here. And that's weird. I've never seen anyone spin out like that coming onto pit lane here.
Yeah, and that violently, I'm just speechless. That's terrible for Cameron. Running up in the top 5, you'd hate to see that happen.
I mean, I'm sure you're just thinking to yourself, I'm getting ready to pit here, and thinking about what you're going to do in the pit stop, and then just bam.
Wow.
To me, it looks like, I know Trey, Matt, Wendell, it's been a while for you, but I'm sure you remember the same thing. Once you, like when you turn left, like in these cars, and you need to turn right real quick to counteract it, it just sets on the right side and just, you're done. That's kind of looked like what it did when it came to pit lane. He tried to overcorrect it back to save it, and it just killed it.
Yeah. it
Yeah.
Just looked like he had too much brake into it and just kind of was trying to get it woed down to take that flat entry, and man, that thing just came around.
Well, that changes a few things, boys.
But our championship 3 did it with championship 2, unfortunately. Sam Close and Peter Short will be battling her out here.
Yeah, it looks like it did trap Rusty Webb, Corey Lindsay, Carlos, all those guys a lap down. Unfortunately, at the timing of a caution there. I was just getting ready to say too. I think the naysayers for this is going to have a lot of cautions in it. I was going to say this is looking pretty clean and green. Kevin Finn in the chat, press F for respect.
Big time.
Well, there's enough Fs for that one, so.
Man.
Well, I guess that's a good time to point out that's kind of how hard it is to do these sometimes. That's the same guy that dominated last night, and he couldn't even get on the pit lane tonight. One little mistake getting on pit lane, and you run your race, but you just wipe out a championship contender too.
I think you mentioned it. I think it was you, Thomas, that mentioned it. Chuck and Eric's propensity to find trouble on green flag pit stops.
I mean, yeah, but that's just an odd one. Most of the time you see it coming, once you're in the grass here, you'll kind of push out wide, not just spin coming into the access road. That's a weird one.
I just wonder if he put some rear brake into it and helped him turn and then forgot to put it back coming down
That's-
pit road.
That's probably
That
a
has
good,
happened to me,
good
yeah.
thing, yeah.
I've done that many a time.
And the worst of it is, like, you see that you can't. You make a little bit of too much of a correction, and that's what happens. She just goes right out into the traffic. Unless you're one of our buddies from a different league that just decided whenever we got wrecked to hook her right back out into traffic. But
Don't get me started on that.
Sam must not have had too much damage. He didn't spend a whole lot of time on pit road.
Probably more cosmetic than anything. Just kind of crinkled it. He got so close, it could have been a little bit of net code as well. So.
it looked like he lost a decent little bit on his speed. I think he did catch her, but it might have looked worse than it was.
Yeah, they patched it up pretty good. Took the scuffs out of it. It's hard to do with a black paint job.
Like they've extended the caution another lap.
That's what you need good old Ron Malik for.
Just beat it with a hammer, Ron. How many people took the wave around there? That's quite a few. Yeah, pretty much. I guess that's right. Producer says about half the field. Yeah, I guess a lot of guys got trapped by that, didn't they? I think Paul Ross was trying to get a penalty cleared as well. He got called for passing under yellow, I believe. I'm not sure. Let's go back and look and see what happened there.
I think he was on pit lane, is what he said there. I don't know. Might have been some kerfluffle coming down to the access road, though.
That's a tough one, too, because if you're pitting under caution like this was, and the field's still not all strung out, when the field's not caught up and, the guy's passing you as you're pitting, that kind of gets all weird here.
Yeah, my big thing, especially in hoster to league races, I don't. If somebody has to catch up to me and they're not caught up to me by the time I get to pit lane, then I'm not waiting.
You'll go 45 and you'll wait, man. All right, Bird's gonna be down here again. Hand it back to Chuck as we should get the green fairly quick. Back to green.
Inside line, got a hell of a jump there. Wade Lear kind of backed her up there. About 6th place on back. Johnny Thomas kind of darting around trying to find a way around it.
Boys, I got a feeling cautions breed cautions.
Yeah, because that was a long enough first run. You know what you got now, so you gotta make something happen.
Looks like everybody did a good job of getting single file. Johnny Thomas, big run on Mike Stevens. Try to take 7th away.
Ooh, Mike Stevens within inches of that wall there. Been some hot and heavy action back here in the pack from about mid-pack on.
It's been great racing.
Johnny Thomas thought about giving a little bump there to Chad Brown, thought better of it.
That would have sent Chad's good night into a very, very bad night on the entry to a corner.
I think we could play the Chad audio now. Come on, man. That's a gaggle back there. Paul Ross, Carlos Acosta side by side, off at 2. Get that sorted out. Looks like Paul's trying to march his way back up after having to start the back there.
contact between the 89 and the 2. Just kind of parted the seas there, and they kept on going. They touched, yes, Carlos. Yes,
You want us to show you on the doll?
Show us on the race car model where they touched you. So if you're Sam Close, what are you gonna do here, Trey? I mean, you kind of were there the first run, but you weren't close enough.
Hey, I mean, you still got a long ways to go, but you got to try to keep in touch with Peter.
I still say, I know caution's pretty cautions, but I'd already kind of put a pencil to it and see what I could play this backwards as. Because that caution really came out around the same time as you're going to have your green flag stop. So if you plan on doing 2 more, I'd still kind of figure on that one and see if I could maybe fudge it a little to undercut Peter by a lap or 2 if you're Sam Close. Just so you can get that, we saw it last night in multiple races. If you can just get the track position, sometimes, if you can just make that car wide enough, you can do what you want with it.
You pit around, what, lap 70, then lap 100, and then you're done.
Yeah, so, maybe 69, 68 if you want to be aggressive. Green flag laps, depending, of course. So.
Good battle shaping up still with Chad Brown and Johnny Thomas. Kyle Hanshai's a couple laps down there, but he's still up there racing with these fellas.
Still following as a boss man there. So kind of get her done.
I'm not sure what
getting more money for those, man.
Yeah. I'm not sure what Hanshaw's plans are for next season, but if he can come out with a little bit more better results, right? Might be set himself up good for a good start of the season next year if he does decide to come full time here to Cup Series or even the Truck Series he'll be on.
Yeah, one would have to think maybe Johnny Thomas is going to run him in the. Well, he's actually going to be broadcasting that. I thought they might run him in the developmental series a little bit too. One would think he's probably going to return with Johnny Thomas next year.
Oh yeah.
I mean, nothing solid that we've heard, but let's start the rumor mill now.
Why not?
Hat for ball. I guess Chuck's on a little Sunday drive now until we see if Peter can maybe string some laps together here in the long run.
We saw that first one. Chuck jumped up to that big lead first part of the run. The last half to 3/4 of the run, these guys were starting to run them down.
One has to wonder too, though, Trey. Maybe he was driving a little bit harder than he wanted to try and stay in front of Eric.
Could be the case as well. Didn't work, but
Well, yeah, because clearly Eric had. I think once he cleared Chuck, he had about a couple tenths he picked back up again. So time will tell, I guess. That's what they always say.
Johnny Thomas still clawing back there, trying to get by Chad Brown. It's kind of like what we saw. It was Johnny and Rusty Webb last night, I believe, wasn't it? That we were just battling each other constantly throughout the whole night.
Yeah, like Chad's just keeping it wound up enough where Johnny just can't quite get by him. It's easier said than done. If someone doesn't want to give you the spot, if you don't have, if you can't just clear them going in the corner, it's pretty difficult to get by him.
Mike Stevens back there in the 63 just left his mark on the turn 4 wall.
Just still making sure it's the wall's still there, nice and sturdy. Kind of those hurricanes had, just make sure it didn't loosen anything up.
so it's an integrity check.
Caution.
Caution's out.
The 2, Carlos Acosta around on the backstretch. They got loose up off of corner 2 and couldn't get her back and took her to the outside wall.
Yeah, got some pretty decent contact there.
the second caution of the evening on lap 52.
That's gonna throw a little monkey wrench into the plans. Alternate your strategies, I guess.
Yeah.
But didn't matter. They're gonna love pitting under caution at least this time. So.
Yeah, that's going to be a lot easier as long as you don't get past in the pace car.
Should give the 89 car a lucky dog.
Sam Close better close up a little bit more than that. He's got a big gap up there to Peter Short, even on entry to pit lane. So doesn't look like he'll be able to gain positions unless Peter makes a mistake.
Yeah, it's a tough one too because they had the 4 car who had a pretty decent gap to Peter himself. So smooth and steady is all you need. No speeding.
Yeah, the penalty even now could be detrimental because really there's no guarantee we're going to have another caution. Just like in the race last night, we never had any. We had 2 more so far, but I mean, it's been pretty clean and green feel the whole race.
Oh, it stops there.
Nothing
Yeah,
changes hands.
And even if you maybe you think you can overcome the penalty, you're gonna have to use the car up to get back through some of the field here. So
You'll still be banking on another caution if you do end up getting posted for something on pit lane, be it speeding or.
It's like everyone did fairly well. Maybe that 89 maybe got busted, but that's about it. Yeah, it looks like he got speeding.
He'd be starting. He'd have to start back there anyway because he did get the wave around correct.
Should have, which begs the question: was he on pit lane?
Oh boy.
No, it wasn't. Okay, my timing was just going weird. It's like Hanshaw's gonna try and take Weber and get one of his laps back. I don't know how that's gonna play out. That's a pretty big tire fall off already.
Oh, I like it. I like doing that stuff because you got to try something.
Yeah, but you're gonna have to have a caution pretty quick though. And we keep thinning out cars. That's gonna get less and less. So. I feel like you should have some trivia tonight, Matt. I mean, for the final race of the season, you don't have any trivia?
Give me 2 seconds here.
Oh God.
Like, how many palm trees are on the outside of this track?
To hell with that, 'cause I'll actually have to count them, so no dice.
I actually gave the answer out this year, but I don't remember what they said on NBC. It was like something ridiculous. No producer. I think it was in the double digits of thousands. And that may have been on the property, not just around the track itself. I think because, they had to do some damage control after the hurricane blew through.
Well, that's going to be the question. Is going to be how many palm trees are around Homestead Miami Speedway.
Wow, how original.
I think I got the answer, so.
12.
Short notice, okay. God.
I think of one better off the top of my head. And what year did they reconfigure the track? Who was the last winner who won on the old configuration? Who was the first winner who won here?
Wasn't it Tony Stewart, the last one to win?
Yes, it was.
Was it Tony Stewart?
Yeah, 2002. Yeah. Trade, you win an all expenses paid trip to nowhere.
Sweet. Can I get a?
You go to Dollywood.
Can I get a Johnny Thomas hat?
You gotta take that up with them. Their PR guy wouldn't call our PR guy, so
Man.
They used to date, now they're in a fights, and they just don't talk to each other anymore. It's a big thing.
Dayton Burt's gonna date that pit lane there, and Chuck's gone. There's a bucket of grass out there.
Peter Short. Spinning those tires. Sam's Close get a run.
Sam must be laughing at the trough right now, trying to get by Peter.
Something we didn't see last night, but I guess those Cup cars a little more torque there, getting a little wheel spin.
I miss the days when we used to get a whole bunch of wheel spin and everybody'd wreck.
Oh, God. You're the only one.
I just enjoyed it because I was usually done before the race started, so.
It made me think of that time a certain someone started in third gear at Michigan and still spun his tires, because that's that's not possible.
Who was that?
You know.
Runs probably.
Oh, okay.
I'm close trying to make a move here, see if he can get around the 4-car Samaso, trying to keep up with Peter.
Johnny Thomas cracked into the top 5.
He's like, well, I finally got around Chad Brown. I'm gonna make the best of it up here.
Somebody just pounded the wall out back there. Gotta find out who it was. I heard the noise. Was it the Ford? No?
If he did, it was netcode.
I just heard the noise, but I don't. Maybe it was a false positive.
Great, now you're hearing noises in your head again.
Yeah.
2-4 got out of, well, I would say out of shape and all in trouble there at a 4th. That cost him a lot of momentum.
He's getting the round back up there on that middle to high line.
Yeah, for wonder, we're starting to see that kind of rubber in enough to where you can kind of keep the car wound up.
It's definitely darker up there than it was. Chuck's waiting right now is in the next county over. He's putting her on cruise control again. I think he's stretched her out to about a 1.5 second lead.
Just on a little holiday.
God, these guys are fighting these cars up off of 2.
No real wind either, so that's not a factor. Just kind of the track conditions and the setup, I guess.
You're getting done at these races when you're sauna all race and you're just a ball of sweat. Ugh.
Well, you know, you gotta wear that headband, Matt.
Oh God.
And the wristbands.
Yep.
And get Babe to hold the bottle for you. Babe.
Bottle. That was a 1 in a million thing there.
And whoever's watching right now can kind of fill in the blanks of what
I
bottles.
mean, we've all been there on a road trip, maybe, but not when you're driving your virtual race car around. So.
Yeah, I believe it was C fixed or something. But
Or
good
stories
time.
we have all there.
Paul Ross looking to try to make his way to the front. Just got around Richard Hines for P6.
Oh, he's pecking away at it there. He got that. Well, we got the penalty cleared, but he's, you still have to start the back, so he kind of made the best of it that last restart. But he's, like I said, kind of slowly getting up there now. Gonna see if he can track down Johnny Thomas. Might give him a little nudge and say, "Hey, bud, where's my hat? Thanks."
Right?
Right now, this is probably shaping up to be the closest battle. If Paul can get around Johnny, everyone else is kind of settled in.
Sam close, not running overly great lap times, but again, they're not that bad. It's just Peter's consistently lapping a little bit faster than him each lap, so he's starting to pull that gap.
Yeah, this is terrible, Matt. He ran a 28 to his 33? This is terrible. God.
Yeah. Which is crazy to watch how the gap is expanding and they're running almost identical most of these laps.
It's like you don't even need the graphic where it says it's expanding. You can just kind of see that it's getting bigger. NBC.
Yeah, that graphic totally works how it should.
Well, Paul got around Richard there, but Richard's kind of hanging with him. Maybe he picked up a few tricks.
He's another guy that I noticed. Richard always seemed to finish out the races. That's what got himself into the playoffs earlier on in the rounds. But he He's just never really. He's
Missing
rarely
that
up front
spark.
for wins. Like he's just missing a little bit because I think he runs consistent enough. If he could just find that perfect combination, I guess, and get himself into victory lane. Oh, Paul gets wicked sideways up off a turn 2.
Yeah, he's just missing that little bit of spark for the 87. I think, you know, couple tweaks here or there, whatever, you know, maybe some force feedback settings or something, you know, just missing something, you know, a little more practice time, something he could be a regular top 5 driver there. Then he could tell us what we need to do, Matt.
Yeah, I would greatly appreciate that.
Richard Lafferty in chat. He wants to know what happened to Cam. He got Micked.
I don't know if you can rewind. I guess if you haven't been here, you probably can't. But definitely want to check that out on the archive when it goes up. That's
Heartbreak.
devastating.
Handshot looks like coming down pit lane.
Yeah, he might.
Couldn't have. Must have been at the end of his fuel window.
He took away. Yeah, he took a wave around.
Almost like he was out of fuel and he's kind of coasting there. He had one of those Peter Short stops where they jacked up the left side of the car before the right.
That just baffles me.
That's just
I
where
wanna
you get to uncheck your tires. So.
But I want to see what happens when we get the animated pit crews. What happens? Because it's going to send that thing for a loop. You might
Probably
actually
gonna crash the
out.
sim.
Yeah. Paul Ross jumped that seam a little bit there in 1 and 2. I thought he was going to go for the ride, but he did a great job keeping that thing pointed straight.
Surely they tested that, but I guess we'll find out tomorrow. Still trying to work over Johnny Thomas there. Just can't quite get it. He's going to do the undercut here, though.
Johnny pushed it a little bit wide there and almost got to the walls. Here to back out of it some. Should give Paul a decent shot here on the inside, but that outside line has been rolling. Not enough.
Johnny's going to get that big run off.
Yeah, and Paul is loose.
I think Johnny was like, which way do I need to go here? Because you're a little sideways. I don't want to cut underneath you and get hooked into. Puts what, Paul up to P4?
5.
P5, okay.
But Peter Short cutting into that lead. He's starting to catch up and get into the same county as Chuck Sweeting right now. It's only a second back. He gained about 5 to 6 tenths there in the last 10 laps.
Yeah, Peter's going the right way, and you got Sam going the wrong way. So. Nope, other real barn burners and battles as Paul Ross was loose once again off turn 2.
I think the battle on track is Paul Ross in his right rear.
That thing's gonna be angry at the end of this
Oh,
run.
yeah.
I think it already is angry.
Oh, man.
I wouldn't be able to hold on to that.
Now I see why he pitted about 10 laps earlier than everyone else the last time we had green flag stops. I think he needed to.
He's doing a fantastic job keeping that thing at least continuing in the proper direction. I'd be so DNF'd.
Like, totally, bro.
Gnarly.
Yeah, I mean, that comes to a point where you're like, what am I doing? I need to either pit or try something different because this is going to kill me.
That's a lot of work for a driver too. And I know people say these are virtual race cars, but that's a lot of sawing on the wheel. That gets your heart pumping.
Virtual or not, you're sawing on it regardless. So you can tell though when he gets it hooked up, he just kind of set sail on Johnny Thomas. So.
Oh yeah.
Meanwhile, Peter, like you said, continuing to cut into that lead.
That's when, like, watching Paul, I'd like for iRacing to have you can actually see the hands on the steering wheel move properly, as opposed to you turn 30 degrees and it only moves about 3.
They've gotten better at that, but I feel like the hand modeling in all the sims is tough to do because none of them really nail it down. Like the over rotation is where it gets a little
That's
inky
true.
with it because it's. I mean, how do you map? In real life, you take your hand off the wheel when that happens. So it's better than it used to be. Remember, what was it? 90 degrees and that's it. That would just stop, no matter if you turned it more or not. Still got some work to do though.
They just need to find them a hand model.
Sure, there's plenty. I mean, and all those keyboard warriors on the forums, and plenty of hands to choose from.
Yeah, I think those people should be ashamed of themselves. So.
Sending in couches for protest.
Cameron's fixing to be there, but I think we kind of close to another round of pit stops, aren't we, Trey?
Should be close. Went back green on lap 57.
Oh, a little bit long. 10 laps or so, maybe? Oh, I don't know, actually, because we never saw these guys do it on the green flag stop yet. Peter, or Chuck, or Sam. So.
And you can kind of play it out. How far do you want to run here? Still gonna have to make one more anyway.
I try to extend it to at least lap 90 if I could by fuel. You're still probably gonna have to make. I don't know. This is where strategy can really come into play, but the thing is, whatever Peter does, Sam's gonna do, or vice versa.
Extend all you want, but Peter's fixing to be the leader.
That's what I was fixing to say.
Haven't seen Chuck get out of shape a lot, but you're seeing him now kind of starting to wag the tail a little bit to hold off Peter. But you mentioned it last night, Trey. You don't have to do this. You could just kind of chill behind Chuck and let it happen, but I guess he feels like he's got a good enough car that he needs to get around Chuck and set his own pace.
Well, him and Cameron right now. This would be enough to tie Peter for season wins in this series with
That's
Cameron
true,
7.
yeah.
And I know Peter wants to get that win just to tie him.
Especially since how, I don't want to say bad, but uncharacteristic his race was last night.
Yeah.
And how much will that sting knowing you got this one, but you didn't get the B? You could have had all 4.
I think his other 2 trophies will keep him company to cheer him up.
If we can get this one, that'll be 3, so I think it'll be
yeah.
fine. It's just one of those where you're like, damn.
Could have had the series sweep. But...
Take a look here on Chuck. One way, huh?
You see that run that Chuck gets off the corner. Man, look at that thing.
That was a rocket ship. People had to put 5 car lengths, or probably 3 car lengths there just from running the high side up off the corner.
I'd say he was flat flying.
I would there, Rusty.
Back down to you there, Tim.
Push down the ass into the car here. Okay. Good old Tim Brewer.
You can really see that car go off the corner, man, when he runs that line.
It's probably one of the coolest things on iRacing. Once this came into effect, the multiple grooves, you can just see. I mean, it's just like real life. The guy on the outside has such a run from center off.
And before the multi-groove racing came to iRacing, you couldn't even. I know I tried it. I could never ever run anything from the bottom here.
You'd be where Peter is, and that'd be it. That's
Yeah.
where you'd run the whole race. He had a
Peter's
little better
side
run until he got off the corner, but Paul Ross is in pit lane again, so he's one of the early pitters again.
Oh, Rusty Webb saves it. That was a big slide off turn 2. He's still loose. He has no real grip right now.
But you know, once you get it hot, that right rear, it's gonna be evil for a little bit. Still got Peter and Chuck here battling it out.
It's just really cool to see.
Here's the thing too, if you're Sam Close, you're like, yeah, I'm gonna reel these guys in. Still running a little bit faster or about the same time as you are right now, so not what you want to see. You were hoping they would lose a lot more.
Actually gave Peter Short the lap lead that time. And he will get
Might
clear of
clear him,
Chuck.
yeah. Chuck's gonna have a run though.
A roll reversal here. Peter on the outside, Chuck on the inside.
Chuck's all the way down there on that no man's land groove down there. Whew, man. Well, obviously the pit window's open for some of these guys. We're going to see how this is going to play out. I mean, if you're
I don't
Sam
think
Close, I would come in now if you're going to shortcut it.
I don't think it's open so they can run to the end of the race from here.
I don't know if you're going to be able to go that far, though.
Yeah, that's what I said.
You might be able to stretch her on the fuel, but your tires are going to be barking.
So what'd they say, 39 laps?
Yeah, 39, 40 laps, I would think.
Yeah, you're going to have to go a little bit further.
Yeah, but I think Sam's best bet, he's going to have to try to time it so he comes in a lap or two before Peter Short does.
Yeah, even then, that's going to be, this is like, what, 4.6 seconds off the lead, so that's going to be a big delta to make up.
Rusty, again, if that was me, I'd be in the wall. He's been fighting that thing up off of turn 2 all night long.
Just hanging it out a little bit.
Again, top 10 ride right now for Rusty Webb. He stayed clean, never hit anything, never got hit. So, he's doing what he has to do here to keep the car in one piece, and actually, let's see if he can string together a few top 10s here, I think, in the Cold Hard Air Cup Series. He's been quietly roaming back there.
And he's definitely been a second half of the season turnaround there. Well, we just interviewed him last week at Phoenix with his, third place finish? So.
Yep.
Yeah.
Man, even Peter was sideways that time.
Superman right now, Paul Ross. Going to be picking them off one by one here with fresher tires.
Got Richard Hines on pit lane, looking to get some service there. There's no better feeling than coming out on those fresh tires and everyone else is running 2 seconds slower than you. You can just cut through the field like they're a hot knife through butter.
That's the only time I've ever passed a lot of cars. Wade Lear going to be coming into pit lanes, running 7th position there. That's what it takes.
I think if I'm Sam Close, I'm coming in right now.
Yeah, I mean, you got to do something here.
Yeah, he's hemorrhaging pretty badly there. He's lost another, what, a second off of Peter. stay out again here.
Looks like the 4 car got around Chuck. Oh, because Chuck's on pit lane, I guess.
Yeah.
What?
Steve Webb also making it down to pit lane.
So now if you're Peter, do you cover Chuck or do you cover Sam?
Oh, you covered Chuck.
Because if you want to win, you better be coming to pit lane. Yeah.
Here he comes.
Sam Close also be coming in here. Sam's going to try to make up all he can here on this access road. It's going to be a uphill battle, but he might be able to get a couple of, maybe a second off Peter if he can get a good one here. Don't speed. That was close.
He still would have in there. I think he got it, though.
Yeah, he pitted too late, though.
Yeah, he could have undercut him by at least a lap. I don't think that's going to help, though.
But you got to try, right?
Yeah, I mean, if he could have made up 2 or 3 seconds, that's great, but he was still 6 seconds behind, and then your car's not that good in the long run as it is. You're kind of hoping that you can get maybe a quickie yellow at the end of this thing that gets you back in it and just do a little Carl Edwards action.
Get some qualifying laps. All you can do there.
Everybody was clean off the pit lane, so. Wow, that one lap from Chuck really opened that gap back up. Let's see, where's that leave Paul Ross? About 8 seconds ahead of Chuck.
About 4 laps.
Yeah, and Paul's probably going to have to pit again because he pitted pretty early, didn't he?
Yeah, he's been pitting
So,
again.
yeah. He's hoping for a caution as well. So. Yeah, Chuck chopped off, what, about 6/10 that lap, so we'll see.
Oh, I forgot to give the answer for my trivia question that nobody answered. 1005.
That's it.
Not that many that around the
Apparently.
track.
Yeah, this is a Google search. It might not be right, but
There's trimmed. I don't think there's more now in real life than there is on iRacing, because there's not 1,000 on iRacing.
oh no, definitely not.
Yeah, could you imagine showing up for work that day and they say, "Hey, Bob, we need you to model 14,000 trees."
Copy paste, copy paste, copy paste.
Right.
Or all of a sudden I have pneumonia. I have to go. I have to go home.
Pneumonia in South Florida.
Could happen.
Well, you joke about that, but I remember when they scanned Bathurst in Australia, they actually scanned a tree. I'm sure they knew it was there. That's probably why they did it. But it had, I think, carvings and some Ford and Holden stickers actually on it, and they made sure to actually scan that and put it into iRacing. So
That's
That's
pretty cool.
neat.
if you're going to Australia, you might as well get everything you can while you're there. Like the mailboxes up the roads and stuff too. It was pretty cool.
And that kangaroo that got hit, or did they leave that?
I think they let that one out. Of course, when they go to scan the tracks in Brazil, they just do what they
Oh.
can because they always steal their scanners. So.
Right.
Oh my God!
From what I heard, they like take them apart and put them in. Make 'em-
Contact between Mike Stevens and Chad Brown. Both are going to go around on the backstretch.
no caution.
They had
End of
both
day
their
for
days.
yeah, at least for Mike
No,
Stevens.
for Mike
He's smoking.
Stevens.
No
Still
caution.
green.
One of those old caution mappings here. Sure, most of the field's like, come on,
No, Paul Ross was like, "Come on."
just give me one, man. I just need one.
Yeah, if that would have came out there, that would have been a huge advantage to Paul Ross.
It's down to about, what, 4 seconds between Paul and Chuck, so slowly getting there.
Corey Lindsay into the outside wall through turn 3, and there's a couple spots there to Jordan Teal and Johnny Thomas.
Gotta say, this is a good run for Jordan. You know, normally he starts out pretty strong, but he kind of has his struggles. But he's so far put the race together pretty good.
Yeah,
He's running 8th. A little under fire now for Johnny for that position, but he's doing well.
holding
Yes.
his own for sure.
Saw on the tweeters today there, guys, that the driver of that car started the season looking to return to the league next year. So
Oh, Mr. Bad Luck himself.
Yeah.
see if he can rebound maybe. Sure, he can maybe drag Kevin out of the food court. So.
I don't know, man. Them Auntie Anne's pretzels are pretty good.
Speaking of Jordan, he's battling side by side right now with Wade Lear for that 7th spot. Concede that battle right now. He got really loose up underneath him. Need Johnny Thomas to run on the outside here, though, probably.
And that it does.
He's on that seam down there again. I don't like touching that.
On that round of stops, kind of stretched out the field there.
Yeah, did it ever. This is really our only battle on track. These three guys under a blanket.
It's fixed to be between Chuck and Paul, though. It won't be much of a battle. Chuck's within under a second now, but he's probably going to just blow right by him.
Yeah.
Nice to see Ray's Clark made it in the chat finally.
Right.
Well, Chuck's going to make the move there, and it's going to be smooth sailing there. Yep. Under and right by. New leader.
All Paul can do there is just wave.
Yeah, it's like, hey, thanks, bye.
After you, Paul Ross, you got to pit again. So when do you come down? Do you just go ahead and come down now?
I mean, I guess I didn't pay attention when it came in, but you would cut it in half again at best. Maybe pit a little bit earlier.
And go to 20 to go.
Well, he came in on 85, so yeah, I mean, right now would be fine, you know, because you're bleeding time anyway, and honestly, at this point, it's really not going to matter. It's going to put you so far behind the 8-ball.
The only thing that he has really hoping for him is a caution comes out and just before he goes down to pit lane, but the time is the time's running out.
Well, he was hoping for that before Chuck even got to him. So
yeah, Peter should be able to make his way by him here even before we get into turn 1.
Peter's got a little work to do to run down Chuck here. About 1.6, 1.5 seconds behind Chuck. I mean, he's cut into it, but he's still got a little ways to go there.
And then the really hard part's gonna be passing Chuck.
Yeah, that's when you're gonna put it all in perspective there and be like, do I need that 7th win? Championship or win? Championship or win?
Yeah.
Still got Jordan Till and Johnny Thomas going at it back here for P7.
Yeah, I think
Jordan's another one of those drivers that has greatly improved throughout the season.
Yes.
I believe he was, when Peter talked about him, he was a true rookie to iRacing too. So definitely getting thrown in on the deep end there.
Really, there's no better way, though.
Well, I mean, there's a little better way, but
yeah, but this gets you up to speed a lot quicker, because I remember even when I was a year in my first league in iRacing, I was still way behind the 8 ball, probably doing worse than Jordan is, to be honest with you. So.
Well, I remember the first time I saw you when you were someone else that we used to know.
Yeah.
And I asked, "Who's this guy?" And they said, "Oh, just stay away from that crazy Canadian."
That's when I used to be young, thin, and pretty.
Young and pretty. You know, I got that picture pop up in my memories today of when Matt wore that dress that time.
It was not a dress, sir. It was a kilt, we'll say.
It's pretty funny. Photoshop said it was a dress. So. Well, Johnny Thomas went from battling Jordan Till there to getting passed by Richard Hines. I'll say that. Is Johnny going to try and return the favor here down the backstretch? Sails are down there on the bottom. Looks like he's going to have plenty. Yeah, he's going to clear Richard pretty easy there. Man, that 5 car was sawing on it too that lap. Oh, well, we get Paul Ross finally coming in there, Trey. It's at 116.
Yep, I think he just about ran her dry, hoping for a caution, didn't get it.
2 nights in a row, he's like, man, can I get a caution to win one of these? Of course, last night it didn't much matter. He got a championship, so.
Yeah, it softens the blow a little bit.
Just a wee bit. Looks like Peter is just about there, within half a second of Chuck. We'll see how this is going to shape up. So we're getting towards the short end of the laps here, boys.
Yeah, this has been another great race that Three Wide's put on here. This is championship race, so great time to have another fantastic, pretty well flagged flag with 2 cautions, I believe. So.
Yeah, I think we're gonna. I mean, there's no pressure for Peter, so I feel like he's probably gonna try and go for this win.
You just hope that you don't make the mistake and
I think
lose a lot of ground.
We've seen him with enough car control. I think he feels confident enough to at least try and make a run at Chuck.
Oh yeah.
It's down to 2 tenths. He's right there on him. See if we can size him up here. Not sure. Looks like he's just a little bit better through the center. Looks like Corey Lindsay headed to pit lane there. Just watching the hands when you kind of go on board some of these cars and just see them fighting it off of 2. Not so bad at a 4 though. I guess that's the nice thing.
You get a little bit of a break, and then it goes right back to chaos.
And then if you're Peter, you're getting behind Chuck here, and you're getting the aero wash on the front, so
Oh,
that's always
yeah.
helpful. Sure, I'm glad that I said this 33 would be my pick. If he's able to win this championship, are we going to give him more than 240 words this time?
Yeah.
241.
Well, he's definitely deserved it. He's run a good race. Kind of a redemption race for him, if you will.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. Just night and day difference from last night. Just Chuck uses all the track I turned for there. You know, we mentioned coming in, any of these 3 were deserving. So it's just a matter of how the luck played out. And then Peter had just a little bit better car than Sam tonight. So, or I should say, handle on the track, I guess, because they don't have the same car technically. So. He got up to Chuck. He's going to have to try and find a way around him, though. He's kind of stuck there. He's going to wait for Chuck, maybe have another slide off the corner.
9 to go.
And chances for another yellow.
Oh, he's going to make the move there.
Dogfight coming off of turn 2. No. Still going to be Chuck's advantage.
Almost like it's kind of weird. It's like Chuck almost stopped in the corner and it finally hooked up and turned and he just floored it. Channeling his inner Jeff Davis there. This is your best battle on track right now as well, as Peter's going to sail it back into 1 and 2 again.
Chuck's definitely got the high side on 1 and 2 working.
Yeah, I just wonder if maybe that looseness off of 2 keeps you on the bottom. You just can't really get back to the power enough like you can in 4. Got a pretty good run there. I mean, what better way to close out the season, boys? Battle for the lead, battle for the win, battle for the championship. Not as much, but Peter couldn't clear him though.
Did for all of about a half a second. And
I mean, we
ran
could
out of grip.
Rick Allen call this and be like, and if he makes any mistake whatsoever, this opens the door for Sam Close.
May as well. I mean,
That little bobble there hurt him a pretty good chunk though. He lost what, half a second chunk.
yeah.
3 tenths.
He's going to give her another butt here, though. He's going to try to get back up to Chuck, see if he can't make the move. Happens Chuck gets loose up off of 2.
Big time.
Start reading the numbers on the side of the car. Keep doing that.
Well, Chuck tried to run the middle lane that time through 1 and 2, and it got him sideways. We're 5 to go.
He's kind of like, well, Peter's doing it. Let's see what's going on down there.
So the nice, probably the best run Peter's got on the bottom side all night long. Still can't hang it in there.
Yeah, Chuck's kind of closing that door to 3 and 4 though, making sure he kind of didn't get that run, but he's got a run there.
It's a little bit loose, but so does Chuck. I mean, neck and neck coming in the front stretch.
And for Chuck, you're gonna have to inch a little bit more.
Well, 4 to go. There's not going to be much give and take now. You know, Chuck's not going to do anything to.
Light up. Nope.
Chuck to be able to pull him here in the back.
Hey, that's.
Oh, and by the way, here comes Paul Ross on fresh tires.
He's like, I want to be in the winning photo. Beep beep.
Oh, we get the lap car of Chad Brown.
Still a fair distance in front of him. I don't know if they're gonna. Well, he's pretty off the pace. Peter's got a good run that time, though. I don't know if he's still gonna have enough to clear up in front of Chuck, though.
A little bit loose there, but he's gonna be able to hold it. He's gonna make the pass. You know, Chuck's be firing back on all cylinders though now. With 2 to go.
It's gonna be a tough one though, because that 33 is just humming through the center. I can't believe how much you're sawing on those things.
Kind of in Matt's camp. I would have wrecked it for the last spin.
Yeah. My arms would just said, please no more, stop.
Let's be honest, I would have done the short pitting, sped on pit lane, and that would have been game over.
Yeah.
I don't want to be here anyway. Alright, coming to should be what, the white flag of the season.
Another lap. Final time.
Looking good for Peter. Just gotta keep it composed here for one more lap.
Big bobble from Chuck. He's driving the wheels off that thing.
Like, is he gonna try and Carl Edwards it here? I don't think he's got enough gap to do that.
All right, last time out of turn 4 this season. Number 33, Peter Short, race winner. He's your Cold Hard Art Cup champion. Wow, that's a pretty good race, man.
Yeah, that was what you wanted to see at the finish there. The only downside of Peter winning and not Chuck is we don't get to see the double burnout like we did last night.
Yeah.
Oh, no tips touching.
No docking. Either way, though, that was a real barn burner. Hate we lost one early with the championship contender, but it definitely made up for the finish there.
Sam Close brings it home 4th. Hats off to Jordan Teal, bringing that machine home 5th. Good job for him.
Season for him, I believe, Trey.
Yeah.
That's a good one for Avon Racing.
Richard Hines coming in P7. Johnny Thomas P6. Wade Lear P8. This is his first cup racing. A while.
How about the 89 car? I think we saw 3 or 4 people bounce off that car, and he still brought it home in the top 10. And Paul Ross, for you Paul Ross fans, P12. So that one did not pay off in the end.
At least he tried it though.
Yeah, well, we kind of mentioned that once you go to that kind of strategy, you're kind of stuck with it. So, well, boys, what do you say we call up some people?
Let's do it.
I believe we well, no, Cameron came back. I was gonna say.
All right. I got Mr. Close, driver of that number 5 machine, one of our championship 3. Sam, you came up just a little short. Close, whatever pun you want to use. Just not your night. Looked like you had a little trouble with the handling of the car, could never catch back up, but still can't hang your head, man. Great season, but tell us about the race, man.
Yeah, like you said, I just never really got the car underneath me. I don't know. I don't know what it was, honestly. I was trying my damnedest, and I tried to save tires the first runs and lost a bunch of time, and then on the last run, I tried to haul ass and really didn't have that much more tire fall off, and Peter still stretched it. So I don't know what kind of rocket he had underneath that car, but more power to him. Excellent job by Peter getting the championship win. He deserved it, man. I mean, pulled me by like 11 seconds, so I I just didn't have nothing for him tonight. I'm not quite sure what I was doing wrong, but I was doing something wrong. So I tried my hardest and came up a little bit short.
No, we saw you get in the wall a little bit early on in the race. Did that show any damage, or was this maybe more of a netcode than damage?
I mean, I had like 7 seconds of damage total. It really shouldn't have affected the car that much. I was just barely kind of brushing the wall. I don't know, man. I was just trying to push because I try to save and catch them, and they pull away from me, and then I try to go at it, and they pull away from me. So I'm not really quite sure what happened tonight. Definitely go back and take a look at it. But Peter was a better man, so I feel really bad for Cam. It would have been nice to see them battle it out on the track. That's 2 years in a row that Cam's had that kind of unfortunate circumstance. So I feel bad for him. I wish he would have he had more of a chance at it than I did tonight. It just kind of sucks. I'm a little disappointed in my performance, but hey, it is what it is. We'll come back, try to learn a few things, and come back at him next year.
Yeah, without a doubt, man. And last time this year, give us those shout outs.
3 Wide Racing, Cold Hard Art, OCR TV, 3OG Racing, Another Round Disc Golf, Terminal Trucking, just mom and dad, everybody. Long season. Obviously, I'm disappointed, but I really appreciate everybody in the league. It was a fun time. Just came up, just didn't quite make it. Wish I could have for everybody, for my team and everything. But thanks to Corey as well. I mean, he's the man. He does a really good job with all this stuff. So go check out Cold Hard Art. And congratulations to Peter. And you guys have a good night.
Thanks, bud. You too. All right, I got him. He unfortunately finished third in the championship this year. I think Cam, we were shaping up to see an epic battle between you and Peter Short here at this race tonight, but unfortunate luck. You got caught in somebody else's stuff, had nowhere to go. Got to be disappointed, but most wins this year, I think, well, you tied with Peter Short for most wins, so still a productive season, but I know it's got to be a big letdown.
Yeah, it kind of sucks. Good news is, though, I wasn't totally shit at Homestead for once, and I thought I had a decent shot at doing something. And at least this year I made it, past lap 5. I made it to like lap 30 something, so, got to think positive about that.
I don't even know what to ask him, guys. It's such just a devastating blow there. I mean, clearly you and Peter, like Trey said, kind of shaping up there, but I guess you can maybe go ahead and start looking towards next season. You any plans to return to the Cup Series and maybe run some Truck Series races?
Yeah, that's the plan. Just I can't really say anything besides, that kind of makes me want to win. Yeah, damn it! Like, no, not really. Whatever. Shit happens. It's racing. It's not the first time I've had bad luck, and it's not gonna be the last time. So, I had fun this year. That's the bottom line. I had a lot of fun. I made some friends and maybe made some enemies. I don't know, but it makes me want to come back next year even better, and maybe the way it's trending, maybe I'll finish the race next year at Homestead and maybe have a shot. We'll see.
Well, I have no doubt that you will, man. One last time, Cameron, give us those shout outs, brother.
First and foremost, just Corey and Tom at Cold Hard Art for making this all happen, and that we can do this every week. And the things that Tom does, the creations or whatever, those are awesome. I have no doubt Peter is going to be getting pretty good prize at the end of everything. So that's pretty cool. Of course, I gotta congratulate him for winning the championship. He did a good job, not to just win the championship, but he stepped up and won the race too, and that was really fun to watch as a fan. And just all my teammates for the whole year for being awesome. Jordan, got a top 5 this race, so I got to shout out to him. Drew and Race and Kevin and Richard Hines and Peter, and if I forgot anybody, I'm sorry. But it's awesome to race with people like that. And you guys for doing however the hell many races you did.
64.
64, yeah. It's a lot of commitment on your guys' part, so I have to give you guys a big kudos for that. It's been fun to watch. I've watched most of them, and you've done a really good job.
Well, Cameron, we appreciate it, man. You did a good job too. We had a lot of fun watching you run around the track this year, and we look forward to seeing you next year.
Hey, thanks, guys. Been to hang about. It's been a really fun season.
All right, I got him. He finished third. Wasn't part of the playoffs, but still, heck of a race, Luis. Kind of quiet. Didn't make a whole lot of waves. Didn't bring out a caution. Finished third. How was your race, man?
I was just trying not to repeat last night where I completely mistaken the strategy and pitted way too early, then got caught up in a different pit cycle, and then the race just went completely outside of my control. I was just trying to figure out how these guys were able to run as long as they did on the same set of tires and still keep the speed, and just trying to follow along for most of the night just to see where I could get a little bit of time. But as we were getting close, like 30-40 laps on each run, I don't know where they were getting speed out of those things. I was just trying to survive and not lose the car and cause any trouble, especially when we went a little side by side there with the guys that were racing for the championship. I didn't want to do anything stupid and cost those guys the opportunity to race. So just trying to get to the end and keep the thing in one piece.
Well, that's something.
Go ahead.
Sorry, Trent.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say we didn't really ask Sam or Cameron how the car was. How bad did the car get over the run there, Luis? We saw some pretty sideways action at a turn 2.
Yeah, it was weird because it was one of those cars that was not completely loose or completely tight. At least to me, my driving style, it felt very tight in and midway through the corner, and then all of a sudden, when you're got back on the gas trying to get the momentum out of the corner, the back end would just get under you. So it was weird trying to control that. You could not attack the entrance, otherwise you're going to just shoot up the track. And then when you try to be a little bit more aggressive on the outside, the back end was just bouncing all over the place. So it was a little bit of, what do you do? Be conservative in, be conservative out, not trying to do anything stupid. But it is what it is. 110 degrees on the track, so that thing was pretty slick. And that bump coming out of two, that thing is just evil. I saw 2 or 3 laps. I was very close in the beginning of the race to Sam and Cam, and I noticed that we all bounced in a different direction. I said, "Oh my God, we're all gonna die!" But it was just one of those things. It's a fun track. It's just a complicated place to run when everybody's just that much that's similar in terms of speed and handling.
All right, Luis. Pretty good year for you this year. We've talked to you numerous times. So for one last time this year, give us those shout outs, brother.
I want to thank everybody at 3 Wide Racing for putting one heck of a season together. Couldn't race as much as I wanted. Life outside of the track just wouldn't allow it. Planning on doing a lot of tweaks here. See if I can race a lot more next year. Hopefully the entire season, and hopefully be able to run for a championship by the end of the year. Not only play spoiler or trying to play spoiler, but be in contention. I want to thank you guys for putting one awesome broadcast. Everybody that goes back and watch has a blast and really enjoys it. And all the drivers that showed up, all the guys that were racing, very clean, very hard. Big shout out for Peter and for Paul for last night's as well. And both champions really deserve. Send a big shout out to my team, the guys from WCR that help me out week in and week out, just trying to learn how not to kill myself. And we'll be back. We'll be back next year, hopefully faster and more consistent. And hopefully next year we'll stop finishing second, third. We'll climb one spot and get that checker flag.
Wouldn't surprise me, Luis. It's been a pleasure watching you all year. run these things, and we look forward to seeing you again in the future.
Likewise, Wes. Thanks very much. Have a good night.
All right, folks. I got Chuck Sweeting. He led a shit ton of laps, but unfortunately not the ones to winning the race. But I tell you what, Chuck, it was exciting to watch that battle between you and Peter there at the last half of the race. It definitely seemed like you had that high line through 1 and 2 figured out. Did you? I mean, was that? Was that kind of your intent? Is that the line that moved up there, and you figured that was your best way to hold him off, or was just you had no choice?
I had no choice. I was hanging on for dear life up there, but I knew that as loose as the car was off of 2, the setup, it was going to be real hard for him to pass me there. But he was just better than me everywhere else around the track in 3 and 4 and getting into 1. And I did everything I could to hold him off without, risking it too much. Guys running for a championship. I don't want to be the guy that takes him out. But I was kind of surprised he raced that hard. That was pretty risky for him, but it makes me feel good that he's comfortable enough to race side by side with me like that. But it's a good race. Led a lot of laps. It was a good season, even though I joined late. And I'm happy. I think I'm getting a little bit better with these setups.
You kind of mentioned you joined late. Are we going to see you maybe come back next year and compete for a full season championship, or is that just kind of going to depend on what your schedule is kind of laid out for you there?
No, I'm definitely planning on it. All the series and the whole season. So that's the plan. Looking forward to it. Corey puts on such a good league. It's a pleasure to run, whether I win or I don't win. It's just really enjoyable. The drivers are great. A lot of respect for each other, and yeah, I'll plan on coming back and giving them a run for that championship, that trophy next year.
All right, Chuck. Well, I'm sure you're going to be a force to be reckoned with next year, man. Looking forward to watching it. But before we go, last time this year, give us those shout outs.
Yeah, I just want to thank my team, everybody at Randall Falks Racing. Big thanks to Cold Hard Art and Corey for making this series possible. Everyone, you guys there at OCR TV for making it fun for people to watch, and even for us drivers to go back and watch. And then, of course, sponsors iTate, Fast Track Sims, and everybody that helps with the team.
All right, Chuck. Well, we appreciate it, man. Looking forward to seeing you again in the future, man.
All right, thanks a lot. Have a good night, guys.
All right, fellas. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Wins the race, wins the championship. Chuck made it a little tough on him to win the race, but he manages to pull it off, brings home the championship. Peter, I know it's got to feel good, kind of like talked about it a little bit on the broadcast, maybe a redemption race for you, considering that you had a uncharacteristic like Peter's short night last night, just couldn't find the speed, but you found it tonight. You pulled it off. Perfect strategy, perfect pit stops, win the race, win the championship. Tell us about it, man.
Yeah, we're all the people watching who watched last night's race. I said on that last run, I found something, and tonight I applied what I learned, and I did a little bit more tonight of what I learned, and it helped me so much versus last night. First off, the setup tonight suited my driving style a little bit better than last night's. Last night's was just really tight, and I'm not the best with a tight race car. Most of the setups this year have been pretty tight, or at least on the tighter side, and the Cup car, at least on the mile and a half. And tonight's setup was just a little bit loose, and I loved it. I loved the setup, and applied what I learned last night. And my short run pace wasn't exactly there versus Chuck. I kind of watched what Eric was doing in that first run because he seemed to be really fast again and pulled away from both Cameron and myself and got Chuck. It's really a shame what happened to Cameron. I know that's the second year in a row that he's gotten through to the final race and had stuff out of his control take him out. It's tough to see that happen to someone who's a chase contender, a playoff contender, but also someone who's a teammate and someone who I've been racing with for probably almost 10 years now. I feel bad for Cameron because I've seen that happen to him multiple times in his sim racing career. But had the long run pace, and that's what was able to pull me ahead to get the win. It was really fun racing there with Chuck. I think that's some of the best racing I've had all year, especially with the way the car was driving up off the corner, getting really loose, and Chuck running that high line. It was pretty cool to see two different lines working, and made it really hard on me to pass, like you said. But I just kind of waited for a mistake, and I think Chuck might have just grabbed the wall a little bit coming out of turn 4, and either turn 2 or turn 4, and that was enough to let me have the lead.
Did you ever second guess really wanting to have to race Chuck that hard for it, or were you just kind of like, maybe I should just back off here? I got the championship in the bag, or was it, I've got the speed, I want to go and grab this win. I can at least tie Cameron for most wins on the season.
Well, it was one of those things where I was there to have fun. Been here the whole year to have fun. And racing Chuck, I knew Chuck wasn't going to do anything dumb. He's raced very clean around all the chase drivers this playoffs. It's going to be really, really, really awesome. I'm really looking forward to racing Chuck for a whole season next year, because I think there's been a couple times where he's raced maybe a little bit gingerly around some of us chasers, and I'm really looking forward to seeing him race straight up for the whole season next year, because he's bad fast and a really, really good racer all around. So I think that's going to be a lot of fun. Looking forward to it next year.
I just say be careful what you wish for.
Yeah.
Man, I tell you, I have never felt as demoralized after a race as when Chuck just cleaned up shop at Michigan. I mean, he was like, I finished, I think, 20-something seconds behind him, and I was just left scratching my head after that one. So, yeah, there might be a couple of those next season, but, I'm looking forward to the challenge.
Well, Peter, race winner, race champion, 3 championships, I believe, this year. Pretty successful for you, but we're going to give you the honor of giving us our last shout outs for the season for 3 Wide Racing. So have at it, bud.
First off, big thanks to Cold Hard Art for sponsoring this season, this league. It's been really cool to see Cold Hard Art sponsor us. It's been really cool to see them on TV. It makes me feel proud to see that our sponsor, who makes some awesome stuff. Go check out coldhardart.com if you haven't already. Featured on NBC Sports for the last NASCAR race, for Dale Jr.'s last NASCAR race. And to think that they're sponsoring this league has been absolutely super cool. Got to give a shout out to my teammate Jordan Teal. Jordan and I, we've kind of worked together. We worked together at Phoenix to try and find him some pace, and tonight he had that pace. It was absolutely awesome to see him get his first top 5. I remember when I was just starting out sim racing and got my first top 5, and it was kind of a big deal back then. So it was really cool to see him get a top 5. Thanks to all my other Eyes and Tech teammates. Cameron, it didn't quite play out the way it wanted to. But Cameron and I have had a really clean race thanks to Drew. Drew makes this team a lot of fun to be a part of. And of course, Race wasn't able to finish out the season, but Race, we're hoping to get you back in the car for a few races next year, if not the whole season. So that'd be pretty cool. Kevin Finn on the Nathan Young design side. Everyone in Eyes and Tech has made the season a lot of fun. All the competitors, great season. There's been a lot of fun races. The A-Car races, Cold Hard Art Cup races have been really clean. A lot of them have either gone caution free or there's only been a couple of cautions. And I think that's a testament to the skill set of these drivers. thanks to Corey for putting on this league. You know, we got almost 20 cars here tonight. That's absolutely awesome for an end of the season. And Corey running the ship is able to bring in those people because Corey does run a great program, a great league. It's a lot of fun to be part of. He doesn't put up with people's nonsense, and he lets us have at it. You know, boys have at it sometimes, and it makes for some interesting storylines, and it adds some flair and some color to the league, and I think that's pretty cool. So he admins it the way you should. Thank you guys. OCR, you guys have been awesome. I think Corey said it a week or two ago. You know, you guys have done like a million races for us this season. Seems like a heck of a lot. And you've been there every week with some great commentary. And, you know, as someone who's watched a lot of the races this year, I think it's been good to see you guys because you guys have evolved and you followed storylines and all that throughout the season. So that's been really cool. And for someone who watches this on YouTube, you know, 4 years in the future, definitely go back and check out early races in the season because it has been a whirlwind of a season and it's been absolutely awesome.
Well, we appreciate it. And there you have it. He's your Cold Hard Art Cup champion. That's Peter Short, driver of that number 33 Southwest machine. Congratulations again, Peter. It was a blast watching you all year earn your championships, and we look forward to seeing you again in the future, man.
Yeah, it's been so much fun. Thank you guys again, and we'll hopefully see you next season.
So does that mean we get free peanuts?
Probably not. Probably get
Pretzels,
charged.
maybe? Ah, that's true.
I'll
They're
get
gonna charge for
pretzels.
everything now, you know.
Yeah. But this has been a great season. I jumped in halfway through, but I've thoroughly enjoyed myself. This is a fantastic league. So
Was that halfway? It seems like that was less than halfway.
it might have been less than halfway. I don't know.
That's like week 2, I think, when we had to get rid of our intern.
It's like halfway in Canadian time.
Yeah.
Canadian time. Well, I'm sure producer's gonna run the results across your screen as he does each and every week. You can see where Peter finished as your champion. He won, so that's pretty much all you need to know about that one. I guess we'll do a final wrap up here. We can say thank you to our lovely producer, cameraman, sound professional, Mr. Wendell James. He's been here, I'm pretty sure, every race with us. I can't think of one you've missed, so kudos to that one. Yourself as well, Trey and Matt, for coming in late like Canada always does.
Bullshit.
They come in late, still all the glory, right?
This wraps up our 3-wide coverage, but you can still catch us on Wednesday nights covering these Scars Ferrari races for at least another like 3 weeks in that season. But until then, Trey, for the final time this season, hit him with it.
Well, it's been a pleasure, fellas. Hope you all enjoyed the broadcast this year. And for one final time, we'll see ya!